Derek Sicher, Senior Project Manager IT at Salt River Project. Thanks so much for joining me. It's great to see you.
You as well, John. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, happy to have you here at the OATI Energy Conference. So we love this opportunity just to kick around ideas with customers and see how their needs are evolving, where we fit, what you need from us. I know that there's been an evolution at Salt River Project around how you guys are managing congestion and managing the transmission system, and how do we make sure all these tools meet the moment of where we are. So before we dive into that, give me a better idea of your role, and if you could maybe set the backdrop for SRP.
Excellent. Well, thank you. So Salt River Project is a utility based in the Phoenix area, down in Arizona. We deliver both water and power to about 2.5 million customers. And so my role is to implement large systems, large projects, primarily on the TGO side, which is transmission generation operations. And that's how I got involved with taking our former webTrans, which was under Mod 29 contract rated path based, and moving to webTrans AFC, which is what's known as a Mod 30 flow-based methodology to allocate transmission, both for our own merchant and SRP's other transmission customers.
So in maybe broad terms, what does that evolution mean for a utility like SRP? What's the big change?
Well, the reason why we do these types of projects is, at the end of the day, to save our retail customers money. In this particular case, we're able to forego some capital build out on our transmission system by leveraging what I'll call some unlocked transmission that we can use to bring power home to the valley.
And that seems like the name of the game. I know SRP and Arizona, the Southwest, the United States are dealing with these massive changes in load and demand from data centers, AI, even crypto still to a degree, and transmission management and unlocking that untapped capacity seems to be a really great near-term option for utilities navigating this challenge. So how do these kinds of tools help you meet that moment? And maybe why OATI? Because there's a long-standing relationship there.
Yeah, certainly is. And SRP has been an OATI customer for roughly 25 plus years. And so in this case, we had our engineers and we had some external consultants do some studies for us before we ever decided to go the flow-based methodology route. And when we saw that on some key paths, we believed we were going to be able to free up some transmission capability. That kind of green-lighted the project. And then OATI has always been our webTrans was the system we were using under the rated path, contract path methodology. And so it makes perfect sense to take that tool and I'll say make it a flow-based tool. And that's where the AFC comes in the webTrans AFC. And with that long history of OATI, it was a single source project. We didn't necessarily go out to any other firms to get any bids because we knew webTrans and we knew we're going to webTrans AFC.
I always say in these interviews that you can tell a customer has been around for a while when they interchangeably use OATI and OATI. That's when you're part of the fabric at this point. You might as well have the polo on. So what does this transition enable? When you think about, you always want to address your near-term challenges, but if a solution, a platform can unlock future pathways, yes, that's usually part of the thinking. So how does that look for SRP?
That's a great question. So we have seen, since we went live about a year ago, we've seen excess capacity on the major paths that we thought that we were. So that's great, that's fine. It gets our immediate goal. One of the other things that going to flow-based technology does for us is as we enter a new market in the future, and that's going to be the SPP's Markets Plus, having a flow-based methodology gets us that much closer to joining that market. And that was another kind of secondary reason, kind of that more midterm to future, longer-term planning. And so we're going to see some benefits there. And then, of course, maybe folks don't know, but our neighbors at APS had also gone the webTrans AFC route during the time that I was implementing, or my team was implementing the project. and our friends at Tucson are doing the same thing. So in that case, we have kind of 3 neighboring utilities down in the Southwest that we're all not just going to the flow-based methodology, but we're also all going to be joining that same day-ahead market that I just mentioned.
What does that synergy do? Like, what's the payoff there?
Well, one of the great things in kind of, again, synergy behind the scenes is there's a lot more coordination and communication from my perspective than I had ever really seen across the 3 utilities. And clearly that's going to pay some dividends down in the future too, when our engineers are talking with their engineers, our IT folks are talking with their IT folks, and there's a lot better coordination of the data that, in this case, the 3 of us have. So that's already beginning and kind of starting in the early genesis. But as we all 3 move forward, I think we're going to even have a lot closer communication, collaboration amongst each other. So,
Derek Sicher, Salt River Project, thanks so much for joining me.
oh, thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, sir.